Welcome to this edition of History Afresh. In this edition, we will bring to you the story of the circumstances of the death of General Sani Abacha, Nigeria's military head of state, who was in power from 17th November 1993 when he seized to the reins of the office from Ernest Shonekan to 8th June 1998 when he passed on to the great beyond. Sani Abacha was a general in the Nigerian army. Abacha had seen several stages of Nigerian history and development, and even said to have participated actively in all the successful military coups in Nigeria, from the counter coup of July 66 down to the last military coup which took place in 1993, where he emerged as the military head of state of Nigeria. At some point in the history of Nigeria, Abacha was a kingmaker. He was a very patient military officer who was not in a hurry to make himself president, but he had his eyes on the presidency, and when the time became ripe for him in 1993, he toppled the interim president Ernest Shonekan and announced himself as the military head of state of Nigeria. He went on to rule till June 1998 when he died in office. His death gave rise to many theories. A certain theory said that he was poisoned to death by Indian women of easy virtue, who are said to have imported into Asorok for Abacha's pleasure. There is also a theory that says that he was killed by a close friend, a military officer in whom Abacha had so much trust and confidence. The said friend has since distanced himself from the allegations. There is also the theory that he was killed by operatives that came to Nigeria a day in the entourage of Yasser Arafat. There is also the theory that he died of cardiac arrest. Another theory said that he died of natural causes. Whatever the truth may be, what is indisputable is the fact that General Sani Abacha died in the wee hours of 9th June 1998 and left this world to the great beyond. This marked the end of life of Nigeria's most feared and most dreaded military head of state. Perhaps the version of the story as told by Major Al-Mustafa, Abacha's chief security officer, might be the most reliable version of the story of Abacha's death. Al-Mustafa being the last man that saw him while alive and the first man that saw his lifeless body. In an interview granted to Chuks Okocha of the This Day newspaper with the title How Abacha Died, Al-Mustafa's version of the story is in quotes as follows. The sudden death of the head system of Abacha started on June 7, 1998 at the Abuja International Airport, immediately after one of the security personnel who accompanied Yasser Arafat of Palestine shook hands with him. He continued, "Shortly after the handshake, I noticed the change in the countenance of Abacha, and I immediately informed the ADC, Lieutenant Colonel Abdullah, who advised that we keep close watch on him. Later in the evening, his doctor came around and administered injection on him. He was then advised to have a short rest." He went further to say, still in quote, "I left the villa and went back home to rest at about 5 a.m. The security guards ran to my quarters to inform me that Abacha was very unstable. I ran to the guest house of the head of state. When I got to his bedside, he was already gasping for breath. I immediately called Abacha's personal physician, Dr. Wali, who arrived the villa in 8 minutes and gave him 2 doses of injection, one at the heart and another on the neck. This did not work. The head of state at this time had turned very cold. The doctor then told me that the head of state was dead." Al-Mustafa added, still in quote, "The story that my boss died on women is not true. It is a great lie. The story that my boss ate poison apple is also not true." End of quote. Telephone calls were made to several VIPs in the military at the time, including the army chiefs and former military heads of state, on what should be the next line of action. An emergency meeting was convened at daybreak and deliberations were made on who becomes the next head of state and to discuss the modalities for the burial of Abacha. At the end, General Sani Abacha was selected as the new head of state. Abacha's death and burial brought an era in the post-colonial history of Nigeria. To some Nigerians, Abacha was a good man. To others, he was a brutal dictator. He was loved by many and also hated by many. He was a no-nonsense general. He was powerful and largely feared by many, including those in uniform with him. He was the most protected person in Nigeria at the time. But that, being what it is with centuries of superiority over man, snatched Abacha, a sitting military head of state, at a time it was least expected. Abacha was born on November 20, 1943 and was 55 years old when he died suddenly in 1998. He was from Kano State, though some hold the opinion that he was from Borno State. He lived and grew up in Kano, and when he died, his remains were buried in Kano. The global information store Wikipedia recorded his cause of death as, quote, disputed. Abacha joined the military in 1963 and was commissioned as a lieutenant, and from there, he rose through the ranks to become a full-fledged general. Unlike his colleagues that were close to power, Abacha did not skip any rank from lieutenant to general. He was General Babangida's right-hand man and most trusted ally throughout Babangida's 8-year stay in power as a military leader. Abacha was survived by a wife, Miriam Abacha, and together they had 8 children. His death remains shrouded in mystery even to this day. Thank you for watching this edition of History Afresh, and do remember to subscribe to the channel and click the notification button to be the first to receive notification on every new video. God bless you and bye for now.